So, God created mankind to rule over the fish in the sea and the birds of the air and the animals of the ground. We were created to subdue the earth, but not to destroy it. The stewardship of the planet for Christians involves a commitment to caring for God's creation as a sacred responsibility. This belief stems from the understanding that the earth and all living things were gifts for God, entrusted to humanity to nurture and protect. But what does stewardship entail? So, it has a biblical foundation. Scriptures such as Genesis and Psalm 24 emphasize humanity's role in stewardship. Christians believe that we are called to tend to the earth, manage its resources wisely, and ensure its health. We have environmental responsibility, which includes practices such as reducing waste, conserving water, using renewable resources, and supporting sustainable agriculture. Christians are encouraged to think about our impact on the environment and make choices that honour both God and creation. We should be involved in justice and advocacy. Stewardship involves advocating for policies and practices that protect the planet, particularly for those most vulnerable, who are disproportionately affected by changes through climate change. This aligns with the Christian call to care for the marginalised and the oppressed. Our actions here can have devastating consequences for the poor who suffer most. Some of the poor, particularly in low-lying areas where sea change will have a drastic effect, depend directly on resources from their local ecosystems for their livelihood, and they often have the lowest capacity to cope and to mitigate these effects. We need education and awareness. We're called to educate ourselves and others about environmental issues, fostering a deeper understanding of how faith intersects with ecological concerns. We're called to community action, working together as a community to promote sustainability, whether through church gardens, clean-up initiatives, or supporting local conservation efforts. All of this demonstrates a collective commitment to stewardship. We should also have spiritual reflection. Stewardship invites Christians to reflect on their relationship with nature and to find spiritual meaning in caring for the environment. Nature is a reflection of God's creativity and love. So in essence, stewardship encompasses faith, ethical responsibility, and practical action to honour and protect the world God has entrusted to us. So as part of the United Reformed Church, what does the URC believe about climate change? On their website, they have a section about what we believe, and this is what it says about climate change. The URC recognises that we're living through a climate emergency. It acknowledged that human activity is responsible for the degradation of the earth, increasing climate change, and a frightening acceleration in the loss of biodiversity. This is harming the web of life and the balance of nature, and imposing most heavily upon the poorest people in the world. It has declared that this cannot be the will of God. In response, it has pledged to reduce carbon emissions across the whole of church life, with the aim of reaching net zero emissions of greenhouse gases by 2030, which is also engaged in advocacy to the UK government and others for action to foster the transition to a net zero carbon economy and for global climate justice.